All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome on back to the Cinema Lords podcast. Back in here with my buddy Luke again today, thankfully, because we're going to be recapping the newest episode of The Rings of Power. For those of you that checked it out, last week I had to do the first three, all of them by myself, and goddamn, that was a tiresome episode even for me. For those of you that got all the way through it, I appreciate it. Good job for you guys. You said you checked out the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I think you're being a little hard on yourself. I thought it was pretty smooth considering like your thoughts going into it, and
I appreciate that.
That you were trying to get through it in like less than an hour or whatever. I was interested and thought you were funny, and that was a great one.
Yeah, tough to fucking mix in different fucking, like, my actual thoughts, funny thoughts, fucking actual commentating the episode. It's 17 things to balance, especially to do 3 episodes, but whatever.
Yeah, that was like 3.5 hours of content too, and it made it impossible for us to all get together, like you were saying, but with Labor Day and fantasy drafts and all that stuff, it was too much.
It's funny about that shit too, because the initial numbers said that, like, it was like low viewings, and the thing is that Amazon keeps everything on the wrap, so it's like if that came out, then it's either made up or it's some sort of a leak. Mm-hmm. And then Amazon, of course, comes out, was like, I think it was this week, the end of last week, and they came out and it was like the most viewed minute time in any of their opening, like surpassing The Boys. So, like, that's kind of a weird thing to, like, even mention The Boys, first off, I thought.
Right.
Like, in particular. But someone somewhere is lying.
For real.
It's just a matter of who it is.
Yeah, unless it's just nobody got to it until Tuesday night or something, like
right.
You and me did, yeah.
Right. Like I said, the getting Labor Day weekend 3 episodes is crazy. If it was just 1 episode and it starts on Labor Day weekend, like, okay, I get it. Like, you actually give people the long weekend to fucking watch the episode. Like, that almost makes sense. 3 episodes, though, you said 3.5 hours. Like, it's a long fucking time for people to carve out of their weekend, especially like the last weekend of the summer.
Right.
Fuck.
Right, but I thought it still came together well. Like you said, episodes 1 and 2 were a little better than the third. But
actually, that's where I was going to start. I was going to ask you your thoughts on the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. We talked a little bit about the flashbacks at the beginning, kind of doing the backstory of Halbrand / Sauron, and which was a little confusing at first, but it came together.
All of the names. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, at least some of them.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny because we're going to get to this too, but there are some that I don't know, and it's almost by choice that I don't know.
Right. I feel like a lot of those are the Numenor people, which we didn't get a lot of this week. Helpful. But yeah, I have the hardest time remembering Theo's name for some reason, and
that kid sucks.
Yeah, easiest name compared to all the elf names. But
last weekend he literally goes, "Don't talk to me ever again. We're good." And I'm like, right there, I'm like, well, that's obviously not going to happen. Not even a full episode later, they're fucking talking. I'm like, son of a bitch.
I know.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, waiting for him to do something good or turn full evil. I feel like they're just leaving him in the middle here too long.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go full evil. I mean, I'd be shocked if he didn't. Nothing about that kid says good guy to me.
Yeah. We shall see.
We shall. What did you think of episode 3? Did you also find it slow, or did you like it more than I did?
You're saying 3, not 4, right?
Right.
Yes.
Because that was my, like you said, you liked episode 1, the flashback shit.
Yeah, I agree. 3 was not quite as good. For something about Numenor is just not quite pulling us in all the way.
At all.
You know,
yeah.
it's
They're doing a terrible, like when Galadriel and Halbrand were there, it made sense, and it's like, okay, like these are 2 of our main characters at this point, and we're in a new place. It's fucking bedazzled out and all shiny and shit. Like, cool. But as soon as they leave and we're just left with the people that are there, I don't even know you guys. Nor do I give a fuck. Like, you guys were characters by association for a few episodes. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of you guys were particularly interesting.
Right, and haven't given us a real reason to root for you yet. Like, we feel bad for Isildur's dad, and we feel bad for the like queen lady.
Almost like their main push, and I feel like this is like a name drop.
Right. I know. And
know him.
It's tough because we know his whole destiny already, and like we don't have any worry about him dying and any of this stuff, or like
what he's even going to do in his whole life, pretty much.
Right.
He's going to turn into more of a man because he's such a bitch in this show. I mean, we don't really see him at all in like the Lord of the Rings timeline, but
right. They're trying to show him as what seems like a good dude, and then just I guess to push home that the ring can corrupt anybody. But we already knew that. That's kind of the whole point of everything. Yeah. Only Frodo can resist.
I cannot fucking stand his character in this series.
Yeah, I agree. Well, not great, and we had a lot of them in this episode too.
Yeah, we did.
And this was a weird episode because it was really cool in a lot of ways. There was a lot of like big hitter characters that we'll get into. We got like Ents The Barrow Whites, which is a pull from
Definitely
Fellowship.
gonna get to those because let me tell you, I got thoughts about them.
Yeah, and an Ent wife too, which are only like talked about in the books. Like that, they're like, "Get the Ent wives left us a long time ago." And like we've been searching and
Is that
searching.
mentioned in like Two Towers or anything?
I think he mentions it at one point,
Really?
but it's not really gotten into. He's like,
Totally assumed that they were girl trees attacking guys at God.
no, yeah, there hasn't been any Ent wives since as long as they can remember, pretty much. Which apparently is we're at the beginning of the Second Age right now, right? So,
Yeah. Ways off.
yeah. So there's something bad about to happen to the Ent wives.
More interest. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna get there. We'll just keep it simple. So let's get into episode 4 now. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of thought this one was another kind of bit of a stinker. It's kind of bored by this one again. Like you said, there were some cool things that happened, but overall, like none of them were like enough to like really gain my attention. Aside from one scene, which is the very end one, which we'll talk to in depth when we get there. But there's a lot that I was just left wanting more, or I don't know. This episode just didn't do it for me, and now we're halfway through the season.
Right.
4 episodes in, 4 episodes to go, and I just feel like, all right, we gotta pick up pace. Especially because, like, one of the big ones to me, which wasn't even a part of this episode, is Khazad-dûm. Obviously, like, I love Durin, I love the dwarves, I love that whole storyline. But, like, we teased in season 1 the Balrog and the mining of Mithril, and now we've done well over 4 hours, probably closer to 5 hours now.
Yeah.
And the Balrog hasn't even been, like, mentioned, or really, I would say, like, thought of. Even, like, the finding of Mithril, I feel like really hasn't been talked about.
Right.
Like, they did the singing for the mountain thing, but that was to, like, get in, like, sunlight so they could, like, keep the crops alive. As far as the drilling for Mithril, there's been no talk of it. And then all of a sudden, they were, like, fucking, in episode 3, they're like, hey, you guys want some rings? And all of a sudden, the king was like, let me tell you, I don't like other people, but you're going to make me powerful? I'm in.
Yeah. It's strange. It's strange. And all it takes is that little, like, handful of Mithril. And, like,
right.
And they literally have
exactly.
all of that. Like, if you just spend, even if it takes you a year to get, like, an armful, I think that'll be worth it. Like, I don't know.
They also, like, fucking, like, oil. They fucking found that shit, and they just fucking... Because you think about it, like, Frodo had an entire bodysuit of, like, Mithril. But at the same time, even, like, that shit, it's like, how much... Like, I bet you that was, like, fucking a tiny little gram to make that whole thing.
Right. Yeah, not the biggest person ever to be wearing an armor either.
Right.
Like, it's, yeah.
I bet you those dwarves were all racked out in fucking Mithril and shit once they start drilling it.
I bet.
All right, so let's get into this. We open up with Galadriel and Elrond, which they left off in an interesting place. Right away, Galadriel is like, so this is how I interpret it. It seemed like, at first, like, it seems like she's a little snappy, you know what I mean? Because she's a little, like, but then very quickly, I'm like, you know what? Like, I feel like she's being playful. Like, I feel like this isn't jest. And I don't, at least to me, again, personally, I don't think she's too, like, butthurt about not getting the commander role.
Right. I agree. Because I was a little surprised that she even had any snark in her still. I thought she would have been just happy to have Elrond back on her side.
And to be going on the mission at all.
Right.
Because Gil-galad said no.
Right. Yeah. And if there's anybody she would follow, it would be him. And, like, she was just begging him to come with her. So I was surprised that she was being snarky at all. But I think your read is probably right that she maybe was toying with him a little bit.
Yeah, because I think that's exactly what he expected. So she was kind of like playing the role for a second. She's like, dude, I'm just fucking with you. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Again, this is apparently how we interpreted it. But I don't think she's like fucking all bumhurt about not being in charge.
No, she's more butthurt about not being listened to, about like what the rings should be done with. But she's not trying to burn any bridges right now. She knows Elrond is her only guy she can count on in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And,
even if they're at a bit of a strife right now, they're tight.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Maybe Elrond sees that he needs her too, or he's willing to put up with.
Yeah, and he talked to the same guy that he gave the rings to, and he was supposed to throw them away, and then didn't throw them away, and then gave them away.
Right.
And he just went right back to him.
Yeah, he wasn't mad at him at all.
That's why I like the show, but sometimes the writing, and I've noticed it a few times, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like he literally came there to advice. Cool. Introduce a new character. Cool. This guy just gets corrupted by the rings like everybody else. Cool. Again. To go back for him for more advice is just like, huh?
Right.
What do you mean?
Right. At least Galadriel was like manipulated by Sauron. Like this other guy just touched a ring for a second and flipped his whole mind.
He fucking dude. He like, why did you even go into the pouch? Like you're here for a reason. Like,
right.
What do you say? Oh, I got stopped. Like no, fuck that. Throw that thing in the fucking water.
I know.
Take it as a sign of evil.
Right. I don't know. It's just too powerful, I guess.
I mentioned a bunch last week, like ties to Fellowship and the whole trilogy. We see like the 6 elves, like all 6 of them, and they're like traversing, say like from Linden to the other town there. I can't even think of it.
Region is where.
Region, thank you. Yeah, there it is. They're like making that travel, but like they got the aerial shots of like the whole Fellowship like moving amongst the things.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of both, like mostly of the actually the Two Towers run when they show like Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and they're searching for Merry and Pippin, and they're just like trying to catch the Uruk-hai. Mm-hmm. Very much like those shots. I felt like very similar to those.
Yeah, it's a good catch. I didn't think of that, but I can see it in my head right now. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing I wrote down that I thought was very funny. They get to the bridge, which is broken. Cool, we got to take 2 paths. Again, Lord of the Ringsy Fellowship.
Yeah.
But Elrond just goes, must have been lightning. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck kind of lightning do you guys have in Middle Earth? That's just blowing up bridges, dude. It looks like C4 just went off in this bitch.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It's crazy.
I know. I assumed he meant like Sauron lightning, but just to hear him say like, yeah, maybe there's just some strong gusts.
That would have passed if fucking she didn't say Sauron right after.
Yeah.
She'd be like, yeah, that's obviously what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That dude meant fucking lightning.
but even then, like, we saw Sauron get mauled by 20 orcs, you know, in the last. It's like, so cool. It's like he's not that strong. He's not gonna blow up a 500-foot bridge. Like, I don't know. Interesting.
It was awesome. I thought it was very funny. Yeah. But like I just said, Fellowship of the Rings, fucking in Khazad-dûm, actually. Mm-hmm. They got a fucking. Actually, no. Before that, even take the hills or go to Khazad-dûm. There you go.
Yeah. Well, there's a part in Khazad-dûm also where that's where Gandalf says, "Follow your nose," right?
Oh, yep. There you go. Yep. So again, a bunch of ties to Fellowship,
yep. Which was a scene they already called back to earlier last season, right?
Yes.
Last episode of season 1, he says, "Gotta follow your nose," which was our strongest Gandalf hint.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
at
call.
The time. Yeah.
As soon as it was with the Harfoots, right away, I was like, it almost has to be.
Right.
The only other guy I think I said to that because I feel like it almost has to be someone we know. Mostly because the whole first season, they kept his name under wraps. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if it was somebody new, that shit might have happened in like episode 4 or 5. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? That's just my thought process.
Yeah.
So I felt like it's either him. For a minute, I was like, you know, if this is Saruman, that'd be fucking cool. At some point, he just turned on the hobbits.
Yeah. I was hoping to that this whole time, but there's a few more hints that we're getting to get to here that they're leaning more and more into it. So.
It's gotta be. Yeah. It has to be. So we got north to south. North's going to take 2 weeks longer. And then south's going to be a lot faster, but they got to travel through some scary woods. Mm-hmm. We know Galadriel. She's like, shoot first, ask questions later. And she's like, yo, we should take the 2-week route. And Elrond's just like, nah, that's fucking dumb. The ring told you to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. Like, that's totally off-brand for her. Like, that's not kind of like, you know, it's kind of strange.
I know. So it gives you the feeling that maybe they aren't on perfect terms right now. Because if he just asked her, like, well, what did you see? Or maybe he just doesn't want to hear it.
Deal with it at all.
But like, she never brings up that there was like a dead hand reaching out of a dark cave. Like, and then like as soon as they start getting approached by the whites, she's like, oh yeah, these are barrow whites. Like, she knows all about them and shit. And like, I don't know. It's strange. She should get a little more chatty with her. Glimpses into the future.
Yeah, it's just obviously he doesn't want to hear that shit, which is actually what he says to basically end the scene. They go back and forth a few times. She's like, yo, you should really listen to me. Elrond, bad decision making. We're going to see that at least. He's like, nah, sorry about that. And he literally basically says what you just said. He's like, we're not going to take counsel from your ring.
Yep.
So we're going to go to one of my favorite characters, and we're going to meet a new character. We're going to go to the stranger, who we were just talking about, who I presume or assume is Gandalf. He's looking for Nori and Poppy because they got blown away like fucking Twister, the Wizard of Oz.
Somehow survived.
Dude, let me tell you about how mad I would have been.
Yeah.
I would not have been pleased.
I wanted some sort of explanation, but it's fine.
Man,
It's
dude,
fine.
when Poppy was making eyes at that dude, I was like, that dude's fucking creepy looking, Poppy, but if he gonna make you happy, let's go get him, girl. Come on now.
Yeah. Follow your heart, girl.
I'm all in on fucking, I'm all in on. Fucking, so we're gonna meet a new character. He's gonna come across Tom Bombadil?
Bombadil. Yep.
So this guy's kind of likes to speak in riddles a little bit as soon as we meet him. Kind of like not saying not really giving away any information. And the reason why I kind of say that is mostly because Gandalf does that a lot in the original trilogy. Not like he'll just kind of answer something without like answering it. Like he likes to dance around things and be cute.
Yep.
And this guy says that to him, doing exactly kind of what Gandalf does in the trilogy. And Gandalf's just looking at him like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, things don't, you don't give something a name. It has its own name. Like, it's a part of itself.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Gandalf's like, yeah, I wasn't looking for the, he's like, you found the goat. And Gandalf's like, yeah, the goat found me. Like, I wasn't looking for that dude. Like, the goat just tagged along. I was looking for something else. He's like, it's not about what you find. It's about what you're looking for. Again, okay.
Yeah. So like I was saying, I'm looking for my friends.
I'm going to do like what I normally do. I'm going to tie scenes together here.
Cool.
Gandalf fucking, he like goes to pull up that map of the stars. He even mentioned, he's like, over the hill. That part was actually not on him. He's like, yeah, there's hills over, stars over your hill. He's like, well, yeah, you know, typical for hills to have stars over.
Yeah.
Good call, actually. Like,
yeah. Well, still, taking it a little too literally, but
For
he gets a pass, I guess. Yeah. Like, all right. You know what I meant, damn it.
He's still new to the language. Fucking Stranger doesn't get the tech sarcasm or anything like that at this point. But that little map of stars, that thing blows away, lands on a tree branch, and you can tell that he's like, oh shit, this could be my staff. And he goes to start trying to break it up, gets swallowed by the fucking tree.
Yeah.
So my first thought here was like an end. I was like, oh shit, but we haven't seen them do that in the Two Towers. They've always just like smash, you know what I mean?
Right.
Pick up, not like absorb and suck in.
Yep.
Look cool.
So I think this was a callback to the books. It's one of the few scenes that wasn't adapted into the original trilogy.
Okay. Cool.
And it was something that there was a lot of controversy about because it's like, I don't know, like 20% of the Hobbit's story and Fellowship is spending time with Tom Bombadil.
Okay.
And
I haven't read these.
He's very jolly and like he's like Santa Claus kind of guy. Like they had there, he's just singing to himself, talks in riddles. At one point in the Fellowship of the Ring, he like plays with the ring, the one ring that Frodo like gave him or let him look at or something, and he's completely unfazed by it.
Holding the Ring of Power.
Yep.
That's interesting.
And at one point later, like Frodo asks, like, why can't we just give the ring to? He asked Gandalf, why can't we just give it to Tom Bombadil? Like he's the best being that ever was. Like he'll protect it. And he's like, Tom doesn't know. Like one day from the next, he's just like he like is the Earth. He's like Father Earth, and like doesn't have the attention span for that kind of like worldly stuff, like man-made stuff. So he's very mysterious guy, but still has a huge role in the books.
That's crazy.
It also
completely
leads
left out of the trilogy, but he's like a big no shit.
Yep, and then right from there, that's when all the hobbits then get attacked by the Barrow Wights, which is what we see later. Those ghostly figures that attack the elves, and then they like get kind of like eaten by a tree.
Right.
Old Man Willow is what it's called in the books.
But
then they call him Old Man Ironwood in this one.
So
that's what he calls
like multiple?
Could be multiple. It could be just their way of adapting what they can adapt without using the stuff they aren't allowed to use. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. I honestly forgot all about that.
Right, so they're trying really hard. If they have access to Tom Bombadil, they're going to lean into it because that's like something that everybody identifies with the books and like the original content. And they clearly are going all out, but they have to dance around some things, I think, which is the reason why it's slightly different here and there. But this whole episode was kind of an ode to what was left out of the Fellowship of the Ring movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. Dude, those are serious reads, right?
Not as much as you think. I think all 3 books together is like 600 pages or something.
What? No way.
I have it all in one book.
Really?
Yeah.
How many pages is the Fellowship of the Ring? I got first edition. I got 423 pages for the Fellowship.
Okay, maybe I got a 1,000-page book.
Let's see how many pages. The 2000 is 352, so a little bit shorter. So you're about 800 right there.
Okay, maybe it's just a
Honestly, still not that long.
But yeah, that's like one Game of Thrones book.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pages 432. So you're about 1,200 and change.
All right. So yeah, more than I thought.
Not that bad though.
But it's manageable.
There are fucking parts of Game of Thrones that are longer than that.
Yes, very true.
So no doubt. That's
and
actually
there's
not that bad. I should actually, you know what? Fuck, I'm diving in. Now.
You should.
Yeah. No,
and there's like whole pages of like just like lyrics to a song that the elves are singing and stuff. Like so you can like skip.
Yeah.
It's like all in Elvish. Like you don't really care to read it anyway. But so you'll jump through. But yeah, highly recommend, especially if you're interested in Tom Bombadil, because it's pretty early on in the first book.
I've only read The Hobbit, and I've probably read that thing like my copy of The Hobbit is so worn. I've probably read that thing like 7 times. I love that book, and it's such a fucking easy read, and it's just like a good time. Like it's a fun time reading that book. I love it.
I do like The Hobbit a lot too. I think I've only read it once, but
it's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, my fucking copy is worn to shit. I feel like I should find a cool one. Because mine's just like straight up old school paperback. I should find, because I got like fucking, you see that show. I got like fucking 3 versions of Harry Potter books. I got fucking
one of your collections.
Yeah. I got a couple of like real cool ones that I like. I got a cool Lord of the Flies one that's really sick that I like. It looks almost like a diary, basically, like a kid that was like on the island kind of wrote it kind of thing.
Cool.
It looks sick. But anyways, back to Rings of Power. Gandalf gets eaten by this tree, and Bombadil, of course, comes over. This is what I was talking about with tying scenes together. Bombadil's gonna come over, like basically like this tree is his neighbor, which I guess theoretically speaking, he is his neighbor. He lives right outside of his house.
Yeah.
Just like comes on, like, hey, I know. Just please let him go because he didn't mean it. Like, it's fine.
Stretch your roots. Drink some water. Drink deep.
He says to him, he's like, because I wanted the staff, and he's like, well, maybe if you had just asked him, he would have given you a branch, you know?
Right. Did you think of asking nicely?
Exactly. Yep. You don't just got to go around fucking owning the earth.
Yep.
Which makes sense because Gandalf doesn't do that by the time he's like Gandalf.
Yep.
So he's already learning from Bombadil. We find out that he's like the oldest person alive. He says he like can do magic basically, but it just seems like he's fucking.
Yeah, refers to himself as the eldest, and
cool.
he says he was there before the stars, before anything else. He was the first thing, which goes with being the eldest.
Like, and, what does that mean? Like,
to me, he's like I said, he's like Father Nature. Like he's not a human. He's more
Father Earth.
Father Earth, yes. Father Earth, yep.
Father Nature.
Yep. It's a weird one, not really explained in the book, like I said, which is like people always were kind of looking back on it, like what the fuck was that Tom Bombadil section? Because like we never come back to him. Like
yeah.
At the end, he like I won't say actually. He has some crazy stuff that they might use in the.
Oh, in the show.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But he's got some powers that come in handy.
Yeah, no, the fucking fire thing was cool with the fireplace and shit. The goat just little sheep appeared.
Yeah.
Cute little sheep.
Yeah.
Again, oh fuck. Can you show me how to make little sheep appear?
Right.
Let's see. Stranger. Oh yeah. Stranger says, sorry, not the stranger, but Bombadil tells him that he's not the first guy that's come across. He says that the Dark Wizard was here training under him at some point. And if Dark Wizard and Sauron ever get together, there'll be no saving Middle Earth, basically. And it's the stranger's job, again, pointing towards, I mean, it's Gandalf.
Right.
But regardless, pointing to the fact that he's going to have to fight Sauron and the fire, which I think just is a term for evil, I'm assuming, like death.
Right. Or maybe just what he's referring to as the orcs. And because Sauron's not really unified with the orcs yet, you know? And the orcs and Adar are all kind of burning and churning through the forest and tearing shit up right now. So maybe that's the fire, or the Dark Wizard,
like Mount Doom, fucking.
Yep.
I think
hell, all evil things.
Yeah, exactly. Overarching term.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We go to my people. We go to Nori Poppy. They're in the middle of fucking nowhere. They jump off a cliff. which I thought was a wild move.
Yeah.
Like, there was no hesitation. There wasn't like, hey, let's hide behind this rock. Hey, maybe we can run for it. Their first initial thought was, let's leap off this cliff. And again, I remind you, this is why I love these fucking people and they're my favorite characters. They're nuts. I love it. With their little acorn hats and their little singing songs. And they're just jumping off of cliffs. I love them. I fucking love these little Harfoots.
And they just got dumped 100 feet by a strong wind, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Blown away in the Wizard of Oz and they just fucking land. All right, no big deal. We're good.
Brush off. It's like, yeah. All right, I guess they're gonna be fine no matter what.
That's a good call, actually. Like, how the fuck did that go down? They just got like shot off into the distance, and well, they just like.
Like it. Only thing I could think of is if they like landed on a mountain, so that like they were just like lifted and like placed on something high like that. But I really have no idea how they could have survived. I guess magic is always an answer in this. So.
Always an answer.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It would have been cool if like stranger showed up there and Bombadil was with Nori and Poppy, and he was like, "Yeah, these two are flying by my house." Like, no. Threw a baseball mitt at him.
Yeah. Little lasso. Hold him in.
Like I said, they jump off this cliff, and then we something I referenced to earlier. We meet this new Hearthfoot guy who just looks like a werewolf to me, basically.
Yeah.
Looks a little strange, but I guess is just because he's the size of him and the way he's built. Like, oh shit, he's one of us.
Yeah. They thought he was a Harfoot. And
his name's Nobody.
Right. Which is strange. We haven't got to the bottom of that yet, but.
Oh, right? Yeah,
right.
For real.
Right.
They're making googly eyes at each other, though. Like I said, I was like, Poppy, if that's what you want,
yeah,
do your thing.
So a quick one on that is the guy's name is Merrimack, right? That's what he says his real name is. He's like, well, my mom calls me Merrimack.
Yeah, he does.
Apparently,
I'm sorry.
Mary from Fellowship of the Ring, he has an uncle named Merrimack.
Love it.
Yep. And apparently the Brandy Bucks also resemble these store people in a lot of ways.
Merry and Pippin are like...
So maybe Poppy and Nobody start off the Brandy Buck clan or something, you know?
That's awesome. That'd be sick.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of combos you're seeing the underground part of hobbits, you know? Like these people live underground. You can see how that kind of forges in with what we see in the Shire and all that.
Oh man, I'm such a simple human. I love fucking Merry and Pippin, dude. They're like literally like two of my like. Obviously, I feel like obviously Legolas is like probably my favorite character. But like, how do you not love? I know it's the popular answer, but how like do you not love Legolas? I also love Boromir, but he's only in it for like 2 seconds.
Yep.
But I fucking love Merry and Pippin.
Oh yeah, second breakfasts.
Dude, they're just so funny.
All they're singing and
them singing and dancing on the fucking tables. Then they become
fucking stuff up.
Yeah. Then they become fucking soldiers and shit.
And then save the world at the end. You know.
Damn right.
No
I fucking love Merry and Pippin. And I love Poppy. And if Poppy loves this new guy, guess what? I love him.
There we go.
If they somehow give birth to Merry, they're my favorite.
There we go.
They already are probably my favorite. This dude, you know what? Mary's uncle.
Yeah. Great.
Mary's granduncle has got some water from the well. Heading back to his villages, no outsiders. They're like, bro, you're bringing us a fucking long. There's a whole fucking village, these motherfuckers. They don't call themselves Harfoots, though. They call themselves stores. Stores.
Mm-hmm.
Living in holes, like you just said, kind of like Shirey.
Yep.
The new guy gets called in the question for bringing him back there. Poppy stands up for him because she's a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
And then they mention they mention a wizard, referring to obviously the stranger, but they take it as the dark wizard because so obviously he's nearby.
Yep.
And the village assumes that it's him, and they like just basically get tied up. And we don't see it right here, but eventually when we get back to the storyline, we're gonna see that getting tied up also meant Mary's granduncle. He got tied up too. It's like, yo, Jesus, he's in on it just because he fucking brought him.
Right. Just doing the stupid move, I guess.
But I guess so.
I mean, he was warning everybody that this matriarch lady is kind of an asshole, but
that's true.
I don't know if she pulled off the asshole vibe that much when we were watching it. Like, she had a lot to live up to, but she pretty quickly cracked and like was nice again. But
yeah, I was really only like fucking that one scene.
Yeah.
After that, she's fucking.
Yeah, she was more just shocked that anybody stood up to her. She just has a good, like,
there you go.
Good strong right hand or something where nobody ever even tests her these days or something.
I talked about it last week. All I can say is in a show filled with storylines, people are gonna be like, I don't fucking need these Harfoots on my screen. Let me tell you about what I do need. I do need these Harfoots on my screen.
Yep. Give me all the Harfeet.
I'm all in on the little people. Even like the original, like I said, like I mean, obviously Frodo stinks. I'm not a Frodo guy, but Sam's the man. Frodo is such a wham. It's unbelievable.
I mean, he's kind of suffering, you know.
Yeah, like, I don't need that. I'm just having a good time.
He's not just being a baby.
I'm trying to bring it down, man.
He's kind of getting infected with the most evil thing that ever existed, but that's all right.
Oh shit! Samwise is obviously the man.
Yes.
Like in the first, like I love the Fellowship. Like it's by far my favorite movie. I love that opening out. Like it's just proud feats. Like I fucking Bilbo Baggins, dude. I fucking love the whole thing.
Yep.
They're awesome. The fireworks. I love Fellowship.
That's right where the book opens up. It was like my 71st birthday. Like,
I'm due for a rewatch. I gotta watch those again.
Oh, yeah.
For like the billionth time. So we're gonna go to the Barrow Down, something we talked about for a while. We're on the move here. We're obviously going south, like we said. So we're heading for these rooms. One thing I did notice, there's like one elf that's like kind of doing a little amount of talking. He's the one that like says he's hearing voices as they're traveling through the woods. Mm-hmm. He definitely looks like the elf from Two Towers that shows up with the army that like see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably just complete like I'm sure it's a coincidence and it's just the actors. But as soon as I saw him, I was like, wow. I was like, that looks just like that guy. And that guy was kind of cool.
Could be.
He was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, fucking Men and El's gonna stand together one last time. He's cutting through people and they just get stabbed.
Yep.
Then there's that weird death where it's like him and Aragorn, like we've known him for this whole time, and it's like really sad. It's like, dude, we just known you for an hour, but like you are a man.
Yeah. So that was a weird twisting of the book, I think. That was because there is a really cool elf character from the beginning. I cannot think of his name, but they don't show him in the movie, and then I think they made him that same name.
In the book,
in the movie, yeah, and like plugged him in, and like then had a bunch of cut scenes, and then suddenly he dies, and they're missing all the scenes that led up to him.
I gotcha. Because like actually, just now as I was thinking about it, we do see him actually one other time. It's in the Fellowship when they're like in the woods and they run into fucking
right. And they're singing and stuff.
Yeah. He's there. He's like the one that's like walk to the woods. He's like, I think he says something to fucking. I can't remember who it is. Maybe it's Aragorn.
Yeah, because Aragorn can speak Elvish, and
it is Aragorn.
Yeah.
See that? Good call.
What is that freaking guy's name?
It's like Ani. Because I can hear Aragorn saying it, like as he dies. It's like Ani, Andy. In the movie, I'm saying. I don't know about the books. I can hear Aragorn saying it though.
So Haldir is what his name is in the movie. So not who I was thinking of.
Damn, really? Why can't I like?
His role is greatly expanded in the films. Intercepts the Fellowship as they enter Lothlorien.
Yup.
In the Two Towers, he was sent by Elrond and led an army of 500 elves from Lothlorien to Helm's Deep.
So they're just leaving us to interpretate or like assume that when they were in the woods in Fellowship, like him and Aragorn set off a friendship, basically.
I guess, yeah.
I can't imagine it's anything else.
Yeah. A little bit of a miss, but big undertaking. Big story.
Like I said, see this elf, he's fucking hearing voices and shit. He sees some glowing eyes. Galadriel comes over. They find the message broken on the ground, a couple dead bodies. So like the message party that was heading to Celebrimbor took this same sketchy ass road through the woods instead of taking the 2-week path around.
Right.
So that right there, it should have been a sign right away. Like everyone should have been like, "Fuck," like you know what I mean?
Yep.
But nope, we're just gonna power on through. Obviously, we came too far now at this point. One of the elves, I don't know if it's a rock, a tree, but he gets dragged, fucking chain style, just fucking dragged under something. It's wicked dark.
Yeah.
But again, we just saw Gandalf get swallowed by a tree. Now this guy's getting swallowed again by something. I was like, everything's just like at play here. Like don't trust rocks, don't trust bushes, don't trust trees, literally don't trust the grass that you're walking on. You could walk into a hole.
Right. Yeah, there's the mud sinkhole later.
Yeah, exactly. You can't trust anything around you. It's gonna start raining acid or some shit.
Yeah.
Like it was raining fire, like a fucking at the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Can't trust nothing. This was a cool scene aside from actually so this is one of the ones actually I was kind of talking about. I felt like it was cool until we got to like the main point where it's like these Barrow Wights and it's like them just like standing around, like they're moving in super slow motion. I'm like, dude, I don't need to be an elf or anything. Like I can run past.
Right.
Just run past them and run out of the woods.
Until they decide to use their chain thing, and then it's fucking really intense all of a sudden. Like,
It's a good point.
like Galadriel getting ripped 20 feet through the woods.
It's a good point.
That was strange. That
It
was strange.
was. Fucking Elrond's like, attack. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. Like, we only got 5 elves, and we're fucking gonna go attack this whole army, and then just, like, cutting shit, shooting shit, and then just like, getting their faces and stuff back. And I'm like, well, this is underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, they're just standing.
Yeah, not even retaliating.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, this, like, almost lost me. I was just like,
Yeah.
all of my, like, energy that I had at the beginning of this scene, from, like, the eyes and the rock pull or whatever, the tree pull, to now this, I'm like,
Right.
okay, I guess, sure.
Right. And when Frodo encounters them in the Fellowship of the Ring, it's much more of a, like, infiltrating his mind, like, being the scariest shit of all time. Like,
Right.
like it's just going inside of him, and he almost can't even focus and remember, like, who he is or where he was trying to go and stuff. So they could have tapped into that a lot more. It could have been cooler.
It's just, yeah, I just couldn't have been scared. I felt like I said, even like the glowy eyes. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
spooky out here, man.
Is that a cat?
But doesn't it just have these guys chilling? Galadriel, like you said, about to get pulled under too. Elrond's the one that saves her. Turns out they can use like their own weapons against them, even though the elves, weapons weren't working. Their own shit works against them.
Yep.
And then right after that, it seems like they kind of just bounce up out of there.
Yep. And that is not a thing in the book, that their own swords can kill them. But in the book, that's where Merry and Pippin get their swords that they end up using to, like, whichever one of them kills the Witch King and stuff. That's the enchanted sword he gets from the Barrow-wights.
I gotta read these books.
Yeah. You should.
That's awesome.
One warning for you, for someone who loves Legolas. I don't think any character speaks directly to Legolas the entire trilogy. I'm pretty sure he says stuff to people,
Right, but it's like
but nobody says his name ever. Nobody's like, "Hey, Legolas," or like he said to Legolas, and like no one ever talks to Legolas.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know.
He's like the wisest, oldest being amongst you guys, and you're just like not gonna ask him or anything.
Yeah, he's forward with some thoughts. So he'll just come out and say stuff to Aragorn or whoever, but no one really addresses him ever.
That's crazy. Yeah. What the fuck?
That's pretty weird.
That's so weird. We go to some shitty characters. Arondir and Isildur, they're looking for Theo. Bunch of people I don't care about. Isildur likes the new girl. Sexual tension there. Again, I call her the new girl because I don't give a fuck what her name is.
Estrid, apparently.
Estrin? All right.
Estrid, yeah.
Estrid. Arondir's gonna question her, especially about the burn on her neck. And she's like immediately like pretty like spotted, like not being cool about it at all. Just like huzzes a pot at him and tries to run away, which obviously goes terrible. But like I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. That's the biggest problem. We see Theo's being held in like some kind of a tree cell, so we knew that ends were coming at this moment. That was kind of cool. The tree cell itself.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, all right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. How'd they get him in there? Yeah. I guess it must just be an ent, a walking cell. I don't know.
Yeah. Nah,
I guess they can all kind of move their roots like slowly. Yeah.
Sprout little shit.
Yeah.
More so. But we're gonna keep looking for Theo. It's just the 3 of them though. Theo. No, I'm sorry, not Theo. Isildur, Aradin, and what the fuck was her name again?
Estrid.
I already forgot again.
Agnes.
Estrid. They're going to be traveling, looking for Theo. All of a sudden, Isildur's caught in quicksand. In an alternate reality, he dies, and I'm happier. But Arondir goes to save him. In an alternate, that's like same alternate reality. They both die, and I don't have to deal with either of them.
Yeah.
But then the girl, again, I already forgot her name again. I just don't care. Like my brain refuses to accept it. She tries to save him with the branch. And then we get this huge, cool-looking mud monster thing. Kind of reminded me of one from Fellowship a little bit.
Yeah.
Big-ass tentacles waving around and shit.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool, yeah. Kind of like Leech kind of vibes on its like mouth there. And it took it down pretty easy once they got it above the surface, but it was cool.
Yeah, no, yeah. Very, like, the CGI shit in this show, I think, looks so tight. Like, I think it looks so good.
Yeah.
That thing, as soon as it came out, I was like, oh, man, that looks tight. But yeah, like you said, it did get killed real quick.
Yeah. But I like that line by Arondir saying, like, there are a lot of nameless evil things in this world. Like, I don't
That
know the
was
exact
cool.
line, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Fucking evil that's been here forever. We're gonna call this one supper.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, right. Like that, it's like heart or something.
No,
Yeah.
that
All right.
was cool. Which, like, I get it. We're hungry and shit. You, dude, I love fucking. No, I love calamari, but no.
Yeah.
No.
No mud leech
They
steaks
got,
for you.
They got the inside the episodes. Did you see any of those?
I let it play, but I was only kind of watching it.
So the first time I was like already like out, but I watched it again today, and the only thing that got me curious was they were filming like that scene. The fucking producer was like coming over to them. She's just like, how cold do you guys think it is today? And they're like, feels warm. And they're like, I don't know, 7. And she goes, it's 11 today. And they're like, yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, where the fuck are you guys shooting?
Jeez.
It's 11 degrees. And they're like, yeah, this is a warm day. I was like, oh, shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was the most interesting part of that entire thing because the rest of it sucked.
Yeah.
It was fucking Arendir and Isildur, like, basically being interviewed almost.
Yeah, I saw the first one more through. And
See, I didn't watch the first
It was, same thing. They just sit down with 3 or 4 of the actors and ask them how they feel about the characters that they play and stuff.
Just fucking missed it.
Yeah.
Just absolutely missed it on the first one. Nori and Poppy at this village. Like I said, and the new guy.
Tom Bombadil.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Barry's great uncle.
Oh, yeah. Merrimack / nobody.
There you go. I'm just kidding. He's now Mary's. He's Mary's great.
You just call him Mary. Merrimack. It's Mary.
Don't hate that, actually. That's good for my brain.
Yeah.
That's what we do here. Let's try to simplify things down.
And you're not technically wrong if you call him that.
They're going to be all thrown out of the town. So they mentioned Sadek's name. Open in charge is like, yo, hang on a second. And then they show her like a rock wall, and they're like, yo, like this is the singing song. We were here at some point.
Right.
So at some point, all these clans were together, and they just kind of broke off.
Right. So it sounds like everybody started there. That one guy who thought he was going to help everybody left never quite found what he was looking for and just kept hiking forever. And with the few people that followed him, it became the Harfoots. Yep.
I gotcha. Yeah. Because isn't like the Hobbits, they say it, isn't it like 3 different like clans coming together or some shit like that?
Yeah. I think 2 of them are Harfoot and Stores. I don't know what the third one is, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Love it.
And yeah, they said that Sadek had the same last name as their like legendary figure who was the first guy who left.
Oh, I missed that too.
Yep. Sadek had the same last name, like, and Sadek happens to be a black guy, like everybody there too, right?
Yeah.
Like resembles them pretty strong. And then she shows Nori this mural thing on the wall that.
Right.
To me, it gives me some Shire vibes, right? Like,
yeah, kind of.
It's like the Shire is the perfect paradise oasis. No one ever goes there. They're finally hidden away. Has everything. Everything's green and gold and like.
We've got the Shire.
Yep. So that might have been laying out what maybe the full arc is for the all the halflings in Rings of Power. Maybe they'll find the Shire by the end or something.
What they should have done is they should have just like given this their own show.
Yeah.
It should have been fucking Gandalf, the Hobbits, and just like their own show, and then Rings of Power.
They could have
We
pulled
all
that
know
off.
what I would have tuned in for.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it in the same way Star Wars will do 2 storylines that are like overlapping,
Yes,
you know?
that's
Just like tell half of it now, half of it later.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right after we had this cute little like montage, we realized that we're all like the same. We're coming from the same place. Those men with the cool masks on, they come looking for the Nori and Poppy. They've been tracking them down for the last 2 episodes or so.
Still
And
no
this village leader, like obviously she's the one that she questions, and she's like, "Only people here is us." Get smacked down. She stands strong though.
Yeah.
Tough girl.
Yep. Fights back up to her feet. I'm still just kind of thrown off by the lack of info on the Dark Wizard and these masked guys. Like,
Well, he's the king beyond the wall. His name is Mansion.
yeah, right.
He's,
He was once in the Night's Watch.
he's at the head of
Good man,
100,000 army strong.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. I picked that up when you were doing your episode last week. And then
soon as
does
I,
not
like-
really look like him that much. You got to really like
See, as
look
soon as
at
I
him.
saw him, I like looked like I squinted, and I was just like, it was almost right, dude. Honestly, it was like right away. I was like, that man's right up.
Really? That's a snipe.
Do you watch shit like on Amazon? That's
Yeah.
one cool thing that Amazon does. If
That
you
X-ray
pause
thing.
The show, it says like who's on screen. That's very cool. I'm
That
not
is.
gonna lie, that's a very, very cool feature that Amazon does.
Yeah, that is pretty slick. The X-ray function or whatever. That's what they call it,
Yes, yes, very, very cool. Especially like that happens to me all the time with certain things where I'm just like, how do I know this motherfucker? And then usually once I see it, like even on that or I hear the name, it usually helps.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps either way in the fact of looking it up if I can't think of it right away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I need some more info on these people. Hopefully, better be next episode. They
the stores.
the masked guys and
the masked
and the
guys?
dark magician.
Yeah, need some more. Need some more.
Yeah, just kind of leaving us hanging. The masked guys are really pissed at the dark wizard. He cursed them somehow, or they keep bringing up how like they were punished and like
Yes.
can never be back to the way they were again and stuff. Like
Oh,
we don't,
man,
we
so
don't
what do
know
you
what's
think
going on.
Do you think there's something under those masks?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm getting kind of the vibes like the ghosts in Return of the King, like where they owe some crazy debt because they broke an oath or something.
Yep.
But they just haven't given us anything to go on yet. Just these like loyal guys who are trying to earn their freedom back from the Dark Wizard, right? It doesn't seem like they want to be doing this stuff. There's like, once we do this for you, you're
Well,
gonna give us our lives back.
I guess that could, like, now that I know that, that's definitely true. But like when they first said that they would go and like track him down and get the Harfoots, that did seem like they were not so much. I felt like minion slaves, whatever.
Right.
That felt like they were almost like coming to him. At least that's how I thought at first.
Right.
Now it does make more sense like that.
Right. Maybe they were just eager to find something that he would be happy about or whatever. I don't know.
I thought that they were just kind of like, group of bad guys who were like looking for a promotion, basically. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Dark Wizard too. I don't know if it's like intentional, but obviously like the wearing of the white, even like his staff a little bit, and then he's got the gray in the beard. It's just like, oh, are we like intentionally trying to do Saruman looks-alikes, or
Right.
is this what wizards do when they go bad?
Right. Yeah.
They turn gray.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know enough about the like Silmarillion and like all the lore stuff that's supposed to be happening right now, but I'm sure there's some other wizards that are out and about in the early Second Age here.
Fucking Christopher Lee's the guy that plays Saruman. I was just thinking that
legend.
because I don't know if you saw the comments from Ian McKellen this week when they basically said they're doing it's like the Hunt for Gollum. It's a new Lord of the Rings movie that's going to be coming. And I guess they reached out to him about doing Gandalf again, and he was like, as long as I'm like alive and like not in a bed riddled with disease, he's like, no one's putting on the gray hat but me.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, hell yeah, Gandalf.
I love that.
That's my Gandalf right there. That's sick.
That is awesome.
I'm very I don't know what to think about that movie though. Did you see that there was a game that they did? It was like, I don't know if it was the same name as Hunt for Gollum, but it was something like very heavily Gollum related.
Yeah, apparently it was terrible.
Like one of the
I
worst
saw some
games
gameplay.
of all time. People
Yeah.
said it was like completely glitched out, like basically unplayable.
Yeah, just I watched some gameplay of someone just making fun of it, and it seemed really bad. Obviously, it was from a slight
Intentionally trying to make it look
tilted
bad.
point of view, but
Yeah.
but it looked pretty damn
No, it
bad.
could have just been truly that bad.
It's like, yes, then you just gotta like run around in some caves and like sneak past two guards and go to the next conversation and like climb up some stuff.
That's what I said as soon as I saw it. I was like, just the general concept. I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
Who would want to
you're not really
do
fighting. You're not really talking your way through anything. You're just kind of, I don't know, just seeing what happens to Gollum. I don't know.
Who cares enough? Like, he's not, at least to me, he's not that interesting of a character.
Yeah,
We pretty much know everything about him. Like, he was a hobbit, and then he got possessed by the ring, and then he lived in a cave for a really, really, really long time.
and he likes riddles.
Just, like, doesn't do much for me at all, aside from that. I also saw... No, it was from a legitimate source, if I remember correctly, but I saw that Viggo Mortensen and Orlando Bloom have been hit up, too, about that movie.
Cool.
So
That's a tough one to work out. It's been 20 years at least, right?
if I had to guess, we can CGI Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, DH. Sometimes that works. It didn't work for Indiana Jones very well.
You talking about that Skull Island movie there? Is that the last one that came out? That wasn't.
No, the Crystal Skull was.
That's Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that
What
was
the
like 10
last
years
one?
ago. I don't know the name of it, but
didn't
there's like a
hate-
young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I didn't hate that movie.
I didn't
I
watch
know
it.
that there was some people that
Most
were
people
like,
did not like it.
yeah, I didn't hate it. I was like, I came out of it at the end and I was just like, I don't know. That was kind of Indiana Jonesy. I was like,
Yeah.
fucking. It certainly didn't look like De Niro and fucking. Oh fuck! I can't even think of the fucking name of it.
Is it The Irishman?
Irishman. Thank you. Yeah.
Another one I did
The
not
agent
see,
was
but
terrible. No.
no, that's another 4-hour movie that'll be on a rainy day.
I have heard that on a rewatch, it's like a much like better movie because you almost know what to expect in regards because that de-aging scene, like it's really tough. Like it's really bad. But I guess that is like I think there's truth to it. And I want to do it again. But like if you know like that's almost coming and you know it's not going to look that great, then the second watch when you can kind of almost just focus on like the actual story and the movie,
a little less jarring.
it's a better movie. So I am intrigued to check it out a second time.
All right. Well, maybe I can just go into it knowing that it's gonna look garbage, and maybe the first watch will give me the
That
same.
might help. It's not like like that scene in particular looks like there's a scene like Robert De Niro is like kicking the shit out of somebody and it's like really bad. Like it's really, really, really bad. It's like, dude, this is a 70-year-old man. You can de-age his face or whatever you want. That's an old dude and you can see it with every move he's fucking making.
Yeah.
It's like if De Niro's kicking me like that, I'd be like, that's funny, Grandpa.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, Harfoot leader gets smacked down. She covers for him. They're basically like, all right, we're gonna, find the Harfoot sooner or later. We go back to Galadriel. She's talking to Elrond about the ring, and Elrond basically just kind of weird actually. Galadriel says like, promise me that Sauron's always gonna come first, regardless of my life. And then he goes, we're not gonna take things from that ring seriously, but I can't promise you that Sauron's always gonna come first ahead of your life. It's like, well, you just
Right.
okay.
Right. So was that the will of whatever the ring is finally winning him over a little bit, or is that him just finally being able to admit that just because it comes from Galadriel that it's not evil, or it's like, well, I can agree on that. Even though the ring told you that, I think I also agree on that.
There is a little bit of him too. Like he said it. I think it's episode 2 or 3 when he's talking to that other elf. He says like if it costs all of Middle Earth, the elves, everything, that's better basically than having to use these rings.
Right.
But then that guy tells him different, and Gil-galad tells him different, and Galadriel's telling him different.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yep. It's finally getting worn down a little bit. But his stance is, even if it seems good, what if we're actually doing exactly what he wants and we're just helping him this whole time? And of course, he would make us think we're being powerful or getting some insight, but he's really just doing what he does. He plays the song that your soul wants to hear, whatever, like he says in the last episode.
It's not like they're like actively trying to do like things that almost like their focus is to take down Sauron. Whether they have the rings on or whether they have the rings off, their focus and their goal like is the same thing. So like that's the part that kind of gets me a little curious. It's like all the people around you are very heavily focused on taking down Sauron. We just have to use these things in the process, and you're just like, no, because we have to use them.
Right.
It's like,
Like they're clearly powerful.
yeah, using a handicap in a video game. Like, what's going on here?
Right. You don't like cheat codes?
Yeah. He's like, what's going on here? Something's amiss.
Yeah.
So maybe he is finally starting to come around a little bit. I don't hate the idea that the rings are just fucking whispering them to afar. I mean,
Right,
fucking
maybe.
Boromir, that's my boy there. He never had the ring, and that thing was whispering to him from afar.
Right. Right. And this isn't even the one ring, but it's already got a hold of Galadriel, who's a super powerful being, you know. So
I can't wait for that. I'm so like curious about how that is Halbrand just going to learn everything that he needs through the making of the 19 rings, where he's like, all right, like this 20th ring, like I got it. I don't need this guy. This one's going to be crazy.
right. Yeah, and what is that going to change? Like I think there may be some power drop across all the other rings once he makes the one ring.
That would make sense. They don't,
Right.
yeah.
Like he's kind of reining them all in. But like I said, I don't know enough about the lore and the appendices and the Silmarillion to know how it's supposed to go. Not
There's
that
got to be other shit to read, just like Thrones, right? Like after the trilogy.
So it's tricky because he died before he got all his thoughts down. So there's the Silmarillion, which is the like history book. It's like the World of Ice and Fire kind of thing.
Yep.
but I think even that was missing some parts. And then his like kids and nieces and nephews like pieced together all his notebooks and like kind of took some liberties on some other stuff and like made other shit.
I hate that.
Yeah. I know.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with the Dune series too, because I think there's like 3 Dune books, and then I think like there's like 17 that are written by like his kids or some shit like that.
I've heard that too. Yeah, like the first 3 or 4 are considered the books, even though it's yeah.
Because I even if you look
Big-ass
on
series.
Amazon, there's like a fucking shit ton of Dune books. We go back to a bunch of characters that stink. So like it seems like Arendelle left. He like puts the key on like a little log, and the girl's just chilling. She's like, yeah, like it seems like he wanted you to choose. Which right away, Isildur's like, hell yeah, like it's just me and you. Like I'm gonna get some poo-tang. It's gonna be a hell of a night. We get the fire going.
Yeah.
He tries to get all cute. He's like rubbing her face, and she's like, nah. Pulls a sword on him. It's like, oh shit. Things might for a second get slightly interesting. And then you see Arendelle just in the corner with like his bow pointed at him. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Gay.
Yeah.
Gay. Do something cool, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But then it kind of does get cool. Fucking Tree and then wakes up, smacks the shit out of her. Just bam.
Yeah.
Goes to squash her and Isildur because Isildur is still a simp, even though he just like got pulled on. He's like, no, please not her.
Yeah. Yeah. Willing to sacrifice himself, which is the writers trying to make us like him, even though he's
True.
like
That's
the,
a good call. Yeah.
he's the reason why like everything else in the Fellowship of the Ring happened and everything, you know, because he was too weak. But we'll get there eventually.
Always distracted.
Yep.
Always. I like
Yep.
that. So fucking smacks the shit out of her. Trees start kind of like popping up, or ants start popping up everywhere. All of a sudden, it's just like boom, 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 one after the other. They start all waking up. And then Arendelle is going to go try to like tuck it down. He's talking in Elvish, right?
Yep.
I believe. So the ants know Elvish. That's interesting, at least. And then I like the one girl. She's like, have you ever taken an axe to a tree? And Arendelle's just like,
Regrettably.
I hate to say it, but yeah, done it once or twice.
And like, yeah, half a beat. She's swiping at him. It's kind of a tough, tough criteria for if you're a good person or not.
For real.
Have you
Like,
ever?
I just needed to like make a fire. I was gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like you. It wasn't alive. I mean, it is alive, but not like you alive.
Yeah. It's like, build some good shit with trees. It's not all bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine Arendelle was cutting down too many trees unless it was really worth it.
Right.
But they're gonna have a little barter. They're gonna go back and forth for a minute. But then the tree's cool, like you said. Lady Ant, she was kind of the main one. Like I guess the first one that they kind of talked to was like, nah, she's the one that went through all the trauma. Basically, it seemed like. So maybe the other ones traveled to her because they. You know what else he does say is that we smelled like the sap and the burning branches. I think he says from like a ways off, and then we traveled here. So maybe like they came afterwards. She was the one. Like she was just like the lone survivor kind of thing.
Yeah, could be. Because like the way it's kind of laid out in the trilogy of books, it's Treebird talks about how like one day all the Entwives left. They used to all be to get in the same area, and then all the Entwives left. He insists that they aren't gone, but that they just aren't here anymore, and that he longs for them so much and like hasn't seen them in forever. And so it's just interesting for them to pop one in here, which again is them maybe whatever stuff they are licensed to talk about, they're gonna use. Pop it in there.
No, I mean that's cool.
Yeah.
Those are like cool little niche things to like toss in there.
Yep.
What happened to the Lady Ants?
Yep.
I don't hate it. She's the one that's got that little prison thing, little jail cell prison that Theo's in. So she lets Theo out.
Oh shit, they were up there.
I thought so. That's how I at least interpreted it.
Cool. I wasn't sure, but that was cool. That was how it went.
I think because
They are right there as soon as that concludes. So
right, like the
Yeah.
flowers start raining down on Arendelle, and Arendelle kind of like is looking like this, and then Theo. I mean, again, that's just how I interpret it. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but that's how it looked to me.
Cool.
But Theo comes down. It's like, oh great, yeah, no one cares. And then Isildur's like, all right, you know what? Even after everything that's happened, like I still want you. And then fucking her Boothang shows up, which I didn't even think was real.
yeah,
Totally didn't think it was.
she lied about everything else. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just pops up out of nowhere and
Gets
it's
cucked real
Isildur's-
bad.
Yeah, gets cucked. First good thing that happened to him this whole show. Like,
Yeah. He looks really sad.
He does. He looks sad. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
They're like, feel bad for this guy, and you're just pointing and laughing.
Yeah, oh, exactly what I'm doing. That's tough. That guy had a terrible hat on. Did you see it? He had a condom on his head. You stink.
I love it. You're gonna doom the human race later, you fucking idiot.
It's a good call on her part, actually.
Yeah.
She saw it.
Good judge of character.
No shit. Arandia, which I thought was funny too. Arandia's like, just saves Theo, which Theo was all, all dickish to him the last time. He's like, all right, I just saved you. He's like, thanks a lot. Like, we're cool. And he's like, I'm gonna go track these orcs. Like, you want to come? And he's just like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm good. I got things of my own to do.
I love to. I got a thing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Is this
But-
the last thing? Yeah.
They finished strong with another cool scene,
This
but
was cool.
yeah.
This was very cool. So this was the other scene I thought besides the whites. I thought this was like the opposite. I thought this was a very, very cool scene.
Mm-hmm.
But we see that they're looking for Sauron, still trying to track him down, and they come across Adar and his whole army, which looks cool right there in itself, which we also saw the troll, I can't remember his name,
Right.
but that was in the last episode. You see him kind of almost marching at the fucking lead of it.
And just like forearming trees to the ground
Yeah,
on his way
true.
through.
That's a good point.
Stiff arming, yeah. So
Just getting hyped up.
that's why
getting ready.
the end wife was a little pissed.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good call.
That's what she's all wound up about.
I like that. They did. Yeah, they were burning through. So that makes sense. He's just being a dick. But the elves are kind of like watching on. They're like, all right, like we gotta let homies know because they're heading to Mordor. And then all of a sudden we see like an arrow fly by, and it's like, oh shit. But we quickly realize that they're not shooting at them. They just like missed over a horse. And one of the elves catches the shot, takes it to the stomach, lets out a little moan, and then the orcs are like, oh shit, what was that? Galadriel kind of like puts one hand on his mouth, and then the other one like on his stomach where the bleeding is to like quote unquote stop the bleeding. Then the ring starts blinking, and the next thing you know, like the arrow snaps off, and like
Right.
it starts healing itself.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Little Jedi force power stuff. Maybe some of these powers are going to leave the ring once the one ring is forged, which would make it more okay.
There you go. You already said that earlier. That's
Yeah.
it. I like that.
Because
Minimize the power of them because
'Cause
they literally put them on, and the next thing you know, like the birth of that tree, like sprouted right.
it is
away.
really powerful. Yeah, something they couldn't do with all of their thousands of years of science and magic and shit.
Right. So you'd have to imagine awakening that tree is going to require more power than simply saving one dude's life.
Yes. Yeah.
So if the three of them can do it cohesively, I would have to imagine that her one ring alone could probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a power downgrade. I don't really want it to be that powerful this whole time.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
and it kind of calls into question in, I think it's also Fellowship, when Elrond has to heal Frodo from the Witch
Yeah.
King who stabs him.
Good,
And
easily taken care of it.
he has to sleep for like 24 hours and then still isn't okay for like a week.
That's
Like,
another line. It's like, where does he? Because he gets a ring, doesn't he?
I think he has one of the three Elvish rings.
Right.
I think he has maybe the one that the old guy has.
Possibly.
Because
I was like,
Galadriel has
I
one
have to get
and
yes.
Gandalf has one.
And you know
Right?
that
I think those are the three
Galadriel's
Elvish.
is that white pearl because I think we see it again in
Right.
Fellowship.
Yep. They call it Nenya in this one. That's the name of that one.
Don't hate it.
And then
Then your business.
yeah. And then and I know Gandalf has one of the three Elvish rings too.
Really?
Yep. In the Lord of the Rings, yeah. So I think maybe Gil-galad gives that one to him, and then maybe the other old guy gives his to
Elrond.
which would add up to me, but we shall see. But yeah, I think Elrond does have the other one.
This is a storyline I'm interested in too.
Yeah.
You know what's tough too about this episode? Like I said, it's a little slow. Like when you don't have fucking, especially now when we know to not have Celebrimbor and Sauron for like a whole episode.
I know.
Is like tough because they've like now I feel like taken main focus center stage. Like the show started with Galadriel, but now I feel like it's kind of tilted away from her. Like I feel like she's number 2 now rather than number 1. I feel like Halbrand is fucking.
Sauron is clearly way more powerful than anybody. Like that
Not even
melting down the
just
mountain
powerful,
thing.
like
Like
on screen. You know what I mean?
yes. but just the way he got killed to oblivion and then melts and like spills his way out of a mountain and like he's just completely invincible. Seems like
That seems cool.
Yeah, very cool. So he's so powered up, we can't imagine there's a couple days going by without him doing something big.
Exactly.
It's weird that he's not in an episode, but I'm guessing he'll be front and center the rest of the way here.
I would guess.
We can hope.
Although no, we saw it in the preview too. I was gonna say because it ended the last episode. They get the mithril from Durin and the king there.
Yep.
So you'd have to. I was gonna say you'd have to imagine that maybe there's like making rings this episode, but it's not. Like that's in the preview because he's still asking if we should make the rings for him. They probably make the rings for the dwarfs, and then like, all right, cool, we did that. Now let's do the men, and that's when the not the argument, but she was gonna.
Yep, those weak-minded men.
Which they are.
We are.
Let's see. So we got the Mist the Fire, right? Like, so Galadriel heals this dude, fucking ring, fucking able to heal this guy's wound, basically. And she's like, all right, like, I'm going to go distract him so that you guys can, get off. But before she does so, she gives Elrond the ring. She's like, get this fucking thing out of here.
Yep.
Then she goes in. This scene was like, this was pretty fucking cool. Like, she takes down, like, because it's a good size army in front of her. Mm-hmm. And she smashes down probably 20 of them or so in that fucking scene.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
It was cool.
And it was actually a believable.
Sick.
Yes.
Like, it's someone throws a torch. I don't know if she catches the torch. I think she does.
I actually swiped the tip of the arrow through it
As
she's bringing it to her bow or as she's aiming the bow or something.
Yeah, no, she did some cool shit.
Yep. And like where it's usually kind of not believable when one person's surrounded by 100 enemies.
Yeah.
Like she was doing such insane shit that it's believable that they didn't really want to all mob her. Like, there was only like 10% of them were like, let me try. Like she was just like flinging all around, like doing these like Neo things
cool.
and like the swiping it through the torch to get the flames. And
Even
then,
right away, I liked the little knives. Like right away, she's just like, almost like Assassin's Creed. Just like,
yeah, she was just going so nuts that like, they're all like, holy shit. They were not trying to mob her, and that's why she was able to hang on for a little while longer.
hit the power boost right out of the gate.
Yeah, beast mode.
No, very, very, very cool.
Got the gold star on Super Mario.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
She hit the fucking boost. Like the one you talked about where she like neos it and she goes backwards. Like not only did she just go backwards, as she's going backwards, she like pulls a bow out and just like shoots sideways at a guy.
Yeah.
It's fucking so sick.
Yeah, I mean, she's already done all this other crazy acrobat stuff, and
She has.
powered up with this super powerful ring, which is top 3 most powerful in the world right now, at least. Some crazy shit going on.
It's cool to see her.
I'm okay with
the
it.
way we see her in Fellowship, just like being a gangster.
Yeah, she's like a nun in Fellowship.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Scary,
actually not a bad
scary
call.
nun witch lady.
She is kind of creepy, like in the trilogy.
Right? She's kind of tortured by her holy mission she's on. Because like when she goes nuts is when Frodo or she can tell that Frodo's about to ask her to carry the ring, and she's like, "If I had all the power," and like she like grows and like gets
That's
all
right.
dark and stuff. She gets all, and she's like, "I can't do it."
Yeah.
So it's been twisting her. She's not immune to it.
She just, I honestly, dude, nun was a great way to put it. I think that really hit home. That was a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
She is like almost nunly like in those movies.
Yeah.
Whereas now she's just a fucking savage.
Yeah, warrior.
After she messes up all these dudes, though, she's about to hop on a horse and get out of here. Fucking chained again. Second time this episode. First time by a tree rock thing.
Yeah. Spirit. Tree rock spirit.
This time it's with some actual things, with some arms and a chain, like real people.
Yeah.
Orc people. They rip her right off, though. She's about to fire an arrow. Fucking Adar just like puts that shit out, and he's just like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. That was cool. I feel like she still could have shot it through his hand or something, but it's all right.
Also thought it was cool that he called her like by name too.
Right. Oh yeah, they had a one-on-one in season 1 though.
They did.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine it was like Hallbrand that just said it and he remembered it, because I don't think they like obviously they didn't go like, "I'm Galadriel. Hi, I'm Hallbrand. I'm Adar. It's good to meet you."
Yeah.
So it must have just been like what Hallbrand said, I would imagine.
Right.
It's good.
Just
call.
caught in the
It's
cost
good call.
conversation. I don't really remember it that well, but I know that at the beginning, Halbrand wanted to kill Adar, and Galadriel stopped him, and then later Galadriel wanted to kill him, and Halbrand stopped her.
That's a good call. Dude, you imagine how tough that must have been to like keep character at that point. Sauron's just like, dude, this guy fucked me over. However,
that's a good point.
I lived in a pile of mud. I ate rats and insects for this man.
Yeah, I didn't really
And he has
that back.
Yeah, like I have to stop from smashing this man's head just for the good of this overarching story that I've put together.
Yeah, that was a pretty big betrayal.
Yeah.
Flips over the crown and like
Exactly.
stabs him in the like.
After all that time, after all he's
brainstem.
done,
Yeah.
had to resist the urge to just fucking stab his face in that moment.
Yeah. And then stopped Galadriel from doing it shortly after.
Yeah.
Just doing those
But he
long
really-
play.
Yeah. So that's basically all of the episode. Like I said, it was. I think that white scene. I think that's the real crux of the episode. I think for me, I think if that scene goes the other way, and it's like it keeps the like momentum going throughout, where that adrenaline kicks in. It's like, all right, we got the eyes. It's dark. We got the whispering, and then those things are kind of more. Even when that guy gets pulled under the rock the first time, it's like, all right, like shit's on.
Right.
But then, like I said, they don't do anything. Like they literally just like stand around. They just like take the slashes. They fucking take the arrows, and they just like heal themselves. And they just stand there like the whole time.
Right.
I think if that scene, at least for me, if that scene like popped, I don't know. I mean, maybe they fight back harder. Maybe they push in, and the elves just do cooler shit. I think that I'm like, all right, that episode was actually like pretty cool. I feel like that was a really big moment that let down for me, and I think that kind of almost determined like the whole episode in a way.
I think you're right. And it's a weird combo because the whites looked really cool
Yeah.
and like had that cool intro with like, you know, the creepy eyes and the whispers and like it felt like it was on the right track. But
yeah,
then
exactly.
but then just
Sure.
kind of wet farted halfway through.
That's a yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was a weird one. And a weird kind of it's like a microcosm of the episode, you know, where like all this big stuff's happening. They're using these big names, all these references, but then they just miss this one little, miss the pace or miss the turning point, and it just doesn't hit home quite as much.
No, I think that's pretty sound. Because like a lot of the other stuff, like I liked, but it's not big stuff. Like it's not like it's little sprinkles. Like the Hardfoot shit, like I said, like, I liked it, but it's not like stuff that you base your episode around.
Right.
Or even like the Bombadil character. Again, like it's a nice little sprinkle. It's a new character. We're intrigued by him, but again, it's not something that we're gonna like build an episode around.
Right.
And it seemed like the two moments were though like that one, like the whites, and then the ending scene, or even a little bit of the ends too. Actually,
Yeah.
So there were like three pretty solid moments that they put into this episode. The last one hit really good. I guess the ends were okay.
There was a lot of good shit. Even the mudworm thing was pretty crazy. I know you don't like any of them, but it was a cool action scene. It reminded me of like The Witcher, like, you know, Monster of the Week shit. Like, pretty good little battle.
I think it's just, you're probably right. Because I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm just like, dude, I know what's going to happen still, but I'm like, just eat them. Like, just eat them all.
Yeah,
Just
I know that does ruin it. Like, you know, this guy has 10 years left in him. You already killed him twice, like, and then he comes back. Like, I'm not worried about him.
Just kill them all.
It's a weird dynamic. Like, of course he didn't die in the fire. Of course he's not getting sucked into the mud. He's gotta live another 10 years.
I totally thought they were going to get sucked into, like, I don't know, some kind of wormhole underground kind of fucking thing.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was just really good quicksand for a while.
Yeah, no shit, me too. I felt the same way. I was like, oh man, we're gonna get him out of here, no problem.
Yeah.
That was actually part of the, like I said, it was those two guys, those two actors behind the episode thing. It actually like showed that they literally just like go into a box that's like spring loaded, so they like lay, like they basically land on like pillows, and then like say like they basically just have like a button, and then it's just like, all right, we gotta spring out. And next thing you know, they just like fly out.
Wow.
But,
Catapult.
Yeah, no, there was actually some parts behind the episode that were kind of cool. Like every single time they were just like, yeah, so like we have to now demud after every shoot. It's just like people wiping the mud off their entire body.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
But I guess, like I said, I don't know. It wasn't like a necessarily awful episode. I just.
Yeah, but we're missing out on the dwarves, and Yeah, and then we got a lot of the people we don't really care that much about. So.
Yeah, like I said,
And then
not
we're-
having any Sauron at all, especially at this point in the show, is like,
Yep. And then also still dragging along the Gandalf thing. I don't know if we got to it, but at one point they're like, yeah, he's like an elf. He's like a big elf, a grand elf, like another Gandalf. Like I don't know. And then I guess also Gandalf in Elvish means like it's like stick wizard or something.
is it really?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Wand elf. That's what it is. Wand elf. Yeah. And he
Oh,
literally
that's
like
so
thought he
funny.
found his tree branch
Yeah.
wand staff like this last episode and like
How does like the elf? Where does the elf come from? There's nothing elfish about this man. He doesn't have ears. Like,
I think he's clearly not a human.
Right.
So people that are tall and not humans are elves.
Elves.
So that's just what they default to, I guess. But
fair enough.
yeah.
Not racist.
No one. Yeah, I know. Just clump them all together.
Just lump them all.
Like, no. What is the dark wizard calling him? It's like an Istari or something.
The
Istar.
Istar. There
Yeah.
you go. There it is.
Yeah. So that's another lore thing that I don't fully know how it works, but there's these like godly beings that created this like second level of godly beings, which I think is the Istar.
Okay.
And that's what wizards are and shit. And they aren't supposed to like really directly influence things on Middle Earth. They're supposed to be like guardians and like
Right,
guides,
right.
which is kind of why how Gandalf does it. But
No, for sure.
he steps in when he absolutely has to,
Right,
but it's
right.
usually not actually doing that much. He's more inspiring others and giving hope to people and like showing the light and stuff. You know?
Yeah. Obviously,
But-
we're gonna see that develop.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they do with Bombadil. I'm worried about how much they're allowed to do on some of these things. That if they're broaching some of these topics, but then some stuff's gonna be off limits,
Yeah.
it could get messy. But I don't know enough about what they're allowed to do and not do.
I do know. I haven't read any of the books. I didn't know that the family did any of that, but I do know that the Tolkien family is like historically really cunty.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I know that they're like really like assholes about like the rights and all of that shit.
Yep.
So that might be an issue, but I do like that they're exploring things that were mentioned basically in Lord of the Rings that they can now dive into more depth to.
Right. Yeah. If they're gonna be forced to change some things, they need to lean into the things that they're allowed to lean into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I still like it. I think it was a good episode. They could have done better. That's more of the disappointing part. Like we said, there's a few scenes in here that were really cool, but just didn't quite hit home. And we're just getting more of these same experiences of these characters instead of like growing our feelings about them. It's just like, yep, same old this
Yeah.
guy, same old that guy.
Yes.
Like nothing's really developing. But
It's tough to do that when you're doing all of these fucking storylines like this.
right.
Like it almost feels like they're like attempting to do what Game of Thrones did, and it's just like, guys, like, don't do that.
Right.
Let's dumb it down a little bit. Simple is sometimes a lot better. Like that's it's an expression for a reason. Simple is better.
Right.
Like you don't have to do this extravagant 17 storylines all interwoven to like it.
Yep. When
Calm
they
down.
dropped a whole nother civilization of halflings, it was like, all right, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
But it'll be a quick thing, it seems like. So
Yeah, I guess like Numenor is a big problem for me. Isildur is a big. Those are the two biggest problems for me. Those are big time tune outs for me.
I agree. So we didn't get the dwarves in this one, but we didn't have to deal with Numenor too much either.
No.
Still had Isildur and stuff, but
Nope, they were in the preview for this week. Celebrimbor and Sauron were in the preview for this week.
yeah. So that's big to miss out on the dwarves and Sauron for this whole episode.
Yeah.
Instead, focusing on all these people they're still not giving names to.
Right.
Annoying.
We just ended episode 3 with like the fucking dwarves giving Mithril to create more rings, and just like not gonna see you this week.
Right. Hopefully that means it's the rest of the way, but it's going to be a lot heavy on dwarves and Sauron, but we'll see.
Halfway point.
Halfway?
Halfway. I just need a little more. I need a little more oomph. A little more oomph. Not a lot more. A little more oomph.
Yeah.
Just a little something. Just a little more.
Show me something.
Yeah. Which I think I feel confident. I think we're gonna get something good in these last 4 episodes. I think we're gonna get like a
So too.
good, or maybe even a couple like real wild scenes.
I agree.
Confident.
Yeah, and like you said, the CGI is great, but
Tight.
then they're also choosing to not go CGI on the orcs,
Yep.
which looks awesome.
Exactly.
And so they're doing it really nicely, but hopefully they can pull it all together and hit home, baby. I'm ready for some big scenes. So maybe some Balrog action.
That's what I really want.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can tease that at the end of the last season, and we still haven't even mentioned the Balrog or really the mining of Mithril as a whole. Like
Right.
they just gave up another rock at the end of episode 3, but like there was no mining of Mithril. We haven't talked about it at all. It's just been completely swept under the rug, and it's basically one of the last things we saw in season 1.
Right. Didn't it kind of also skip over the conversation between like Durin and his dad, where they like apologize and stuff? Just didn't Durin just kind of show up with the Mithril?
Well, honestly, Durin apologized, and then as far as unless he's not in the right place, he's like, I don't really trust. Like, I don't trust it. Like, I don't trust what's going
Oh
on.
yeah, I remember that now.
And then it literally just jumps to like the king just being like, all right, here's the Mithril.
Yep.
Which is crazy. I don't know. Weird. Very, very weird. Again, with the storytelling, sometimes in the show is a little wonky.
Yep. But that's Sauron doing his thing too. He's
True.
manipulative.
Is fucking King Dwarf really just like here like fucking a ring, and he's just like, let's go. I changed my entire outlook on like these elves are good people. Let's give them what they want.
Right.
It's crazy. You got anything else?
No. I'm looking forward to the rest. I think they did justice to Tom Bombadil without without doing too much. I think he needs to be a little bit more like
We'll see more.
powerful, and he's honestly more silly in the books too. Like
Love that.
even more stupid answers and like
Love that.
yeah. So hopefully there's a little bit more of that, and hopefully we get some names to some of these mystery peeps, because I'm tired of talking about the Dark Wizard and the guy with the mask stuck to his face and the stranger and all those people.
I actually do think the Dark Wizard mentioned one of the guy in the mask name this episode, but I didn't care enough to write it down.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he did. Mention
All
it.
right. Well, I'll take a name. So backstories
There's
is
also like
needed too.
multiple masked people. So
Yeah.
it's just like one guy at the helm. I didn't notice really until this week the whole indebted thing. So something's going on there. I thought they were kind of just like a masked assassins, like fucking the Golden Company or some shit.
Right. Yeah, no, seems like they're trying to earn their freedom from this evil guy. But I don't really know either, because they haven't told us.
Well, yeah, exactly. Hopefully we find out. Wow, we went fucking long, huh? We went for a bit longer than I thought we would. But that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight. This is going to be hopefully posted tomorrow, and then I'll be back again this week with Beetlejuice review, probably tomorrow.
Let's go.
Yeah. Got a busy couple of months still. We're going to keep it rolling even after the summer. We're going to keep it moving.
Hell yeah, baby.
Thank you, Luke, for coming in as always.
Of course. Great
All
time.
right.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm sure we'll talk to you again during the season because, like I said, I don't want to be in there by myself.
Yeah. We need Ledoux back too, though. He's our aficionado.
Yep. Ledoux, we're going to get back for sure. Probably next week, hopefully, as long as we can work out a time and stuff.
Nice.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, we'll talk to you soon. Happy watching.